What's up, friends? Welcome to SPDM TV. My name is Mike, part of the SPDM crew, and I watch a lot of TV. We talk about various TV topics, reviews, and general appreciation of TV past and new. You could follow me on Instagram, Threads, link. You could follow me on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Serialized at MLHLT2452 to see what all I'm watching. This week, I am talking about video game adaptations that have made it to television. And I think television is a much better use of the video game medium as opposed to a movie because I think it just represents a grander opportunity for a video game to tell the story it wants and not get bogged down by, a runtime, anything like that. You have multiple seasons and 10 episodes in a season, sometimes 12, sometimes like more than that, in order to showcase something incredible. I think is just a better use of a video game's time. We've seen it with things like The Last of Us and Twisted Metal and Fallout, where you give a movie or give a TV show a little bit more time to breathe. I think it would work out a lot better. Even with shows like Castlevania or Devil May Cry, they did a really good job of just showcasing a lot of the different characters and telling a more complete story with an extended format. So I think right now we are just in a grand age where there's so many amazing television shows right now, and there's so many great video game television shows that I think it would just be a bit of a disservice if we didn't continue to get more. So I'm looking at some of the ones that are kind of upcoming, and I'm really excited about them. So, like Wolfenstein, System Shock. I also see here like Mass Effect, God of War, Final Fantasy, and Assassin's Creed. I think Assassin's Creed would kind of go into a category of a good concept for a movie, but it just didn't hit the way that they wanted to because they had to just cut a lot of it out. In addition to that, with some of with more animated ones, so we've got an Among Us TV show that is going to be coming up soon. Kingdom Hearts, which I think Kingdom Hearts, I really do think that if Disney were smart, they would pull together all of these live action remakes and put them in a Kingdom Hearts movie. I think that would be the smart play, but what do I know? There's Golden Axe, which, kind of capitalizes on, the hack and slash and genre of video games, but, kind of focusing on the Game of Thrones effect of what like those medieval and combat TV shows could be like. Earthworm Jim is getting another animated show, which I hope to God that Earthworm Jim, like old school shows like or old school video games like Earthworm Jim, Toe Jam and Earl, Battle Toads, all of them need to get TV show adaptations that kind of do it justice. So I put together a list of some shows that I really want to, or some video games that I would love to see a TV show adaptation of, and why I think some of these would be really good. And no particular order. I just think some of these shows I think would represent, just something that would be really good to see on TV. So a couple right off the bat that I think would be good. I know that Paramount announced that they are developing a Call of Duty movie, but I really think that Call of Duty or even a Medal of Honor video game would be really good on television instead. So I feel like Paramount should get their heads out of their ass and actually switch gears and do something like that. Kind of in the similar effect of Halo, I think Gears of War would be a really good video game to adapt to a television show, and kind of capitalizing off like the James Bond of like a GoldenEye effect. I really do think that Perfect Dark would be a good television adaptation. Grand Theft Auto. Now, if we get a Grand Theft Auto video game before, or a Grand Theft Auto movie before, or a movie or TV show before we get the next iteration of Grand Theft Auto, I think people are going to riot. But overall, I really do think that Grand Theft Auto would be a pretty incredible way to, just showcase a lot of the lore, the world building, kind of similar to Grand Theft Auto. I think Red Dead Redemption would be an amazing television show. And I think capitalizing right now on Yellowstone and other kind of westerns that have been made in this Taylor Sheridan universe. I think that would be really smart. Kingdom Hearts could be a really good television show if they do it right. And all the caveat with all of these is that they all need to be done right. So a couple other ones I have Half-Life. I think would make a phenomenal TV show. That's one that maybe you'd be able to pull off a movie, but I really think Half-Life would be better suited as a television show. Kind of in the similar vein as Golden Axe, I'm pitching Gauntlet. I think Gauntlet would be a really good television series where you go through different layers and you just follow some of these, incredible characters. So I plead that Gauntlet would be considered for a video game adaptation. Kind of in the same vein as Assassin's Creed, I think Silent Hill and Resident Evil would make great TV shows. And I hear it from you all now. Hey, Mike, don't forget that Resident Evil had for a brief moment, had a TV show on Netflix. I was like, yeah, they did. And it sucked. It was terrible. So I would encourage them not to do that anymore and just, make something good. I did kind of pitch, or I did kind of think a little bit about like, hey, a Marvel versus Capcom type of situation, but I think that would be a little tricky and a little too hard. And something like a lot of fighting games, like a Street Fighter or Tekken, have the potential to be good TV shows, but I think a movie is good enough as it is. Zelda is an obvious example, but I think Zelda is going to get it's primed to take a TV, or it's primed to take a movie spot, but I think if Nintendo was smart, they would, pivot that a little bit and make it into a TV show. Same thing with like a Donkey Kong or even like a Yoshi type of situation. But a couple others that I have here, like I think we've tried enough to make the BioShock movie, and I think that they need to dial it back and they just need to make it a television show instead. And then some, like, this is a sentimental pick, Oddworld. I really like the Oddworld series, and I think Oddworld would make a really, really fantastic television show. Then Metal Gear Solid is another one that I think would be good. And then I think my top video game that I'd love to see a TV show adaptation of, or even just a movie adaptation, is Diablo. I'm very confused about why we haven't gotten a Diablo anything, but I'm here for it. I would love to see something like that. Yeah, let's make it happen, everybody. But that's gonna do it for this episode of SPDM TV. Actually, so that's going to do it. What are some video games that you think would make a good television show adaptations? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll go from there. But that's going to do it for this episode of SPDM TV. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website at spdmcrew.com. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at HiFlyerCreative.com. Check out the other shows on our network. We've got a lot of great content, so please check out the other shows and support the SPDM Crew. And finally, if you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM Crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.